Okay.
So I'm going to call the meeting to order, 4 o'clock. We do have a full board here. We have Mark, Dan, Daniel, Rob, Arnold, and Walter participating either in person or via Zoom. Notice was met. We do have a quorum. First order of and posting was met as well. First order is to approve the November 1st meeting minutes. Does anybody want to hear them? I'll get a motion to waive reading and approve.
So moved.
Second.
Yes. Sounds like.
Yes.
Well, I got Rob made the second there.
Good.
Discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
It's a board meeting, so only board members are voting, just so everybody knows. Carries. I'm just following the budget that was the
Agenda.
looks like we're going straight into the budget. Do we have any old business we need to talk about before we do that?
Well, everything on this line is old business, but I thought you'd want to get the budget done.
Yep, I mean, that's the big part of that. Budget was mailed to everybody, and I'm sure nobody's happy with it, but, you know, well, it was mailed to the address of record, so, that's fine. We'll give you, you'll be more than welcome to take it one. I didn't get it either. Okay. It's mailed to whatever the address that we had. It was mailed well over 30 days ago, so if you didn't get it, might want to check with the office just to make sure. In any event, everybody's seen these things before. They're the same every year. I'm going to do my little spiel. Definitionally speaking, so people understand what I mean when I say certain things. A fully funded reserve does not mean you have all of the money to do everything today. It means you have the right amount of money to have the money when you need it. So that's what this thing on the back page of the reserve schedule says. Just actually have some extra copies. If we want to wait, I could probably print out some. Does anybody want me to print out some? I'll print just while that's printing, I'll continue to talk. Because everybody loves it. Sound on my bullets. Back page, basically, there's a whole bunch of columns and numbers here, the things that we're actually reserving for. You know, we're reserving for the roofs of both buildings. We're reserving for pavement, we're reserving to paint, and we're reserving for laundry equipment. Okay, some more. Does everybody have one to look at now? Okay. So I'm looking at the back page, and basically the first column of numbers is what we estimate it's going to cost to do something. The next column of numbers is how much money we're going to have at the end of this month in that account. So you subtract those first two column of numbers, it tells you how much money we need to have at some point in the future. Okay, we need, you know, we're going to have $25,000 at the end of the year. We're going to need $104,000 on top of that to get to the 190 that we think we need to do all the things that we're reserving for. Useful life is when they're brand new. How many years we have remaining? Well, we just replaced a roof, so we've got 20 years left. With the other one was done 2 years ago, we've got 18 years left. You get the idea. You divide the estimated balance needed by the estimated years remaining, and that comes up with what the contribution is per year. That 12,233 and that fifth column of numbers flows to the front page at the bottom. Okay. How the front page works is the expenses, the operating expenses and reserves that we need are in that bottom section. Okay. And then you subtract the other income sources to get to how much I have to collect from unit owners to have enough money to pay these expenses and put the money away. That's how the math works. The first column of numbers is what you budgeted last year. The next column of numbers is where we were when we started the budget process with actual numbers at the end of August. Third column of numbers is we annualize and estimate where we're going to be at the end of this month. We use that annualized number to forecast the fourth column of numbers, which is your budget. Okay. We did it. It's not a terrible, decent. It's not terrible. Our budget last year, we had a lot of unanticipated expenses, but we think we're going to be pretty close by the end of the year. However, you know, you've got some cost increases. You know, we budgeted $4,000 in repairs and maintenance, and I've already spent $25,000, and there's a lot. That's before all the other stuff, that storm stuff, which is going to be covered by insurance, and I'm sure you guys are gonna talk about that a little later. We've increased that budget, so nobody wants a special assessment. We run out of money. There's only one place it's gonna come from. And so, basically, we're talking about, they've increased the budget from about $115,000 to $120,000. So it's about a $5,000 increase, and that explains what the payment's doing. That's the highlighted amount at the top section. Usually at this point, I let directors speak their minds about the budget. I don't know if you want to go first, Rob, or Mark, or any of you guys, before we start into questions and answer period.
Well, I would just say at this point that, for the people that weren't involved in the process up until now, the first budgets were all higher. Every proposed budget was a bigger increase than this one. We chose not to increase any more than absolutely necessary, because we do think there's going to be a special assessment coming up. Insurance is not going to pay for everything. We will talk about that as it goes on. Those kinds of flood damages and the things that we need to repair at this point aren't going to be in the annual budget anyway. This is an annual budget to get us through to next year, paying the things that we know we have to pay, and looking for some maintenance, normal maintenance, not what we've been thrown at. I was a strong advocate for this number because I didn't want to see the increase, even though a lot of the board did want to see an increase because we've kept it low for too long. That's the other side of the coin. However, reserves are fully funded, as David just explained, and really to run a surplus budget isn't what we're here to do. We're here to run a budget for our needs, and I think that's what this is. Other board members, I'd hand it off to Mark next, maybe.
Just listen louder. Do you have any comments, Mark?
I want to agree with Robert, reiterate what he said. If you look at the last 3 years, there was a 20% year-over-year budget increase 3 years in a row. This year is the first time I think it's going to be like 2, 3, 4, 5%. This is the smallest budget increase we've had in 4 years. And I think that's good. We're going to have to wait and see on the assessments. We just don't even know what we don't know right now. But I'm glad that we could get the budget we need.
Anything you want to say?
I agree with him. I see the increase per unit cost of HOAs. It's not going to be that much higher than it.
No idea what he's saying.
They're not going to be able to hear you.
It's not going to be that much higher in 2025 than it is now. It's about a 5%. And I agree with Mark, it was much higher increases previously. And we have, since I've owned my condo, I've experienced a special assessment. It's just part of the game, unfortunately. And I think we're just going to have to deal with it.
Wait a minute. When are we getting to the special assessment? Like, where is the insurance money?
Well, hold on. We're not talking special assessment yet. There's a very strong possibility. We have damage to the building that's not going to be covered by insurance. Where is the insurance money? That's not what we're talking about right now. Right now, we're talking about this budget. And this budget is to get us through expenses that insurance is not covering and that we expect. Electric bills, water bills, insurance bills, the things that we expect. That's what we're talking about right now. We are going to get onto the claim and we're going to get onto the flood. But that really has nothing to do with this annual budget that we need to get through to this time next year.
I understand that, but you're speaking about a special assessment. So
No. I mentioned the possibility of. Okay, that's it. So I mean, again, this isn't, I mean, this is time to answer questions, so I'll answer it. There was discussion leading up to this budget of increasing it to raise monies for building maintenance that we don't even know that we're gonna need to repair yet. There was talk about just going with a higher monthly fee so that there was no assessment. I put to keep the payment low in the hopes that any assessments would be lessened. Like we could keep them, I don't know. We shouldn't be talking special assessment yet because we're not talking special assessment yet. There's just always that possibility, always. So talking about this budget, it was my choice to submit this budget to keep the payments as low as possible. The other side of the coin was a bigger monthly payment to put money away, squirrel money away, that might not be enough to do what we need to do anyway. That's where I was trying to explain myself, if that makes any sense. I don't know.
Total sense.
Does it answer your question, Claire?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Operations and putting away your reserves for future capital maintenance. We're not talking about deficiencies in insurance settlements. We're not talking about new windows. We're not talking about all the other things that are out there hanging up there. This is just, what do we normally spend on a monthly basis? And how much money are we putting away for the statutory reserves that we already have? And that's what we're collecting from you. It's the normal operating budget. So before I move on to questions from the audience, Walter or Daniel, or excuse me, Arnold and Walter on the Zoom call as well. Did either of you want to make a comment?
Well, this is Arnold. I agree. A budget is a budget for the year, not anything else that's coming up from what we have. And as far as assessments, we don't know. We don't know yet. So we shouldn't. I mean, I was originally wanting more per month to have some money in reserves for a purpose, but we can do minimal and look at assessments as they come. Either way, what's going to cost is what's going to cost. So.
All right, I'll open the floor up to questions. We'll do the room first, then we'll come into the call there. One meeting, guys. So I'm looking around. Does anybody have any specific to the operating budget?
No,
any questions in the room?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
specific, it's operating budget. Termite control. How many units, at least 4 units had termites, so are we going to include termite control for all the
And that, Rob?
You kind of cut out there at the end, but I heard about termites and budgeting for termites. Now I also heard that there's 4 units with termites.
What happens?
Well, I mean, I guess maybe they're spreading. Where are they spreading? I mean, I'm very frustrated right now, and I mean, I don't know if this belongs in this part of the meeting, but
operating budget? It would be, every year would be treated because there are termites in at least 4 of the units.
Well, they want $15,000 to do the whole place. That certainly wasn't budgeted last year, and we don't certainly have $15,000 in the budget this year. We do have the maintenance to hit up the units as need be. We've allotted the money to do 2 units, which is the only ones I've been made aware of. I've asked for inspections very recently and was told that they inspected twice and gave me the same report from July. I'm at a loss. I don't want to spend $15,000 a year treating for bugs that.
I don't understand why it's $15,000. Is it only one company that does this?
Well, that's the bid that we have right now. Okay, so that's what we're looking at right now. When we did price our bug and rodent budget, I guess, all the other estimates were higher. So yeah, right now this board is looking at it's either $15,000 to do the entire complex.
Okay, so basically,
or
I get it, like $1,000 a unit.
or $1,200 per unit, and we chose months ago to go the 1,200 per unit route, and we approved the money to be spent for 2 units to be done. To date, they haven't been done. I don't know why they haven't been done. They were supposed to have been done. Apparently, they wanted to be paid before the service. We told them, no, you're not being paid before the service. Provide the service, you'll get paid. And it's just been between, I guess, the pest control people and management, and I guess the board, but the board approved the expenditure months ago for the 2 units that had the bugs in them that we knew.
Okay, Dave. All right, David Palmer, where do you stand on this?
News to me. I'll look into it, get back to you.
Number 4.
Look into it.
Players.
Thanks.
The other.
So, I mean, at this point, I'd have to ask, what are the 2 new units reporting the bugs? Because
At this point, I've had termites in there for so many months. I'm afraid that the floor is going to fall. So I'm just going to, at this point, if nothing is done, I'm going to just get it done myself, and I'm going to submit a bill to you.
Well, that would be wonderful. Why don't you do that? Thank you.
Okay,
That'll
done.
take that
Yes.
one thing off of my hands.
Okay, got it.
I've been trying, but
I know, Rob, it's not you, but there's just, it's been
the board
4 months.
approved $1,200.
They were literally
Just make-
digging holes.
I would say make sure it doesn't go over $1,200 because that's what the board approved.
Okay, got it. Done.
I have a question though.
Wait a second, we're getting a little bit off topic here. The question was asked about termites. It's not built into this. This is something that we're doing catch as catch can. And if we don't have the savings, the answer to your question is, we don't have the savings, it means special assessment.
Okay.
We don't have $15,000 to spend on it.
I
So
have
let's
a
move on
question
from that.
about
Yes.
termite. And my question is, if you just treat a few, I guess I would be concerned about them moving and spreading.
And yes, that's what Rob just said. And that's something that we all have our little, and I don't want to minimize anybody's concerns as far as that goes. You can do anything you want to do if you want to spend the money to do it. Okay?
So if we
You want to
have-
tent both buildings and treat for termites throughout the building, you can do that.
What about if you just want to treat your own?
Well, I mean, if you.
Well, we're already treating for the subterranean termites, so this is a different type of termite.
Okay.
The downstairs has no sheetrock and absolutely no signs of termites. So these termites are upstairs. They're upstairs termites. They're flying termites. They're whatever kind of termites.
Okay, we've gotten off track here, guys. Right now, we're on budget at this point. So I'm gonna put a pin in this. We can talk more about this. Let's-
Well, no, I don't think that you have to put a pin in it. What Rose was bringing up is, are termites going to be included in the budget?
They're not included in the operating budget. No, that's asked and answered, Claire. So let's get back to the budget, because at this point, we have the budget on the table. Any other questions? I'm not trying to minimize it. I'm just trying to keep the meeting moving because I can see that it's already going to go in a lot of directions very soon.
I agree.
The most important thing to get done is get the budget approved. And then we
David,
can talk about all
motion
the
to
other-
approve the
Thank you.
budget.
I have a motion from Mark. Do I have a second?
I second it.
Thank you, Daniel. Do I have any further discussion? All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. Now we can move on to the other things, and there'll be a time at the end, I'm sure at the end of your meetings, you have a broad discussion as far as that goes. So,
Okay.
remodeling quotes.
Yes, now
Robert? Remodeling quotes, Rob.
we need to go.
Oh, boy.
Doing this bit.
I don't know where to begin with that. So we basically have 2 quotes for remodeling. One is a complete quote to do everything, to be our general contractor and bring us back to the way we were before the flood. And that number is at $661,000. The second quote that we got, unfortunately, was only for replacing sheetrock and insulation and bringing it back to texture, which is $100,000. But it doesn't include any of the board members that have looked at the claim, the 411 pages or 460 pages. It's a very in-depth document covering just about everything. Now, that said, I don't know how many board members have had the opportunity to look at Colonial's claim. which is another, I don't know, 200 and something pages per building that basically counters their right ways. But their total for everything, including remediation, is little over 800,000. So you think, okay, well, 611, and they'll give us 800 for insurance, but I think we have a $300,000 cleanup bill. And it doesn't include the second cleanup for Milton. So we can talk about estimates and quotes, but we still have some discrepancies in what we're going to do claim wise. So right now, I think if we went with Right Way, we're still going to have a shortfall in funds for what the insurance is offering.
Remember what the insurance is offering that we got earlier today, Rob? That is their calculations based on the current work that we've submitted.
What is that?
If it goes more, it doesn't close.
Right. Well, I mean, for one point, we know it's going to go more because they're only covering 3 foot of the sheetrock cut, and Right Way cut out 4 feet. So there's 1 foot, and all the way around everywhere that insurance isn't covering, and that's because Helena's water didn't come up high enough to warrant the 4 foot cut, but Milton's did. So if we have a $66,000 bill for cleaning up after Milton, and we have a foot of sheetrock in all the units that they're not going to cover under Helena, I'm thinking at this point we got to file a second claim to make up some of that difference. Because I mean, unless Right Way is really going to work with us, then I know it's an estimate of claim and they can submit more and we might get more, but it seems like an awfully big shortfall.
Why don't we go back to the contractor and say, this is the deal? You need
Well, I mean, we could go to both Right Way and WSB, and we could hand them Colonial's claim and say, well, this is what they're willing to give us. Can you do the work for that amount? I don't know if that's the way it works.
Yeah,
Why wouldn't it hurt to file a second claim?
Claire, one moment, please. You guys have to understand that this is a board meeting for the board to discuss this. We will entertain everybody that's sitting at the table and in the meeting, but this is for the board to discuss. We will ask for your input. Please don't interrupt.
Got it.
Rob.
Yeah, who's
Daniel, Annie.
Go
So
ahead.
I agree with you that I mean, it's difficult. I mean, I've dealt with a lot of claims. Maybe you have with insurance companies. Maybe they'll give us more, maybe they won't. But we do have this right now. And I suggest we go to Right Way and say, well, look, this is what we have. Show them what we have. And can you do the work total? And we're talking about clean up everything. That's it. And that way we don't need to worry about getting more money from the adjuster, and they're going to do it for this amount, totally everything. And say, that's what we have, and you negotiate the deal with them.
The other side of that is we can also let them take a look at the adjuster, because the big document that
Right.
Right Way submitted and the big document that we just got back from the insurance company, there may be errors in what the insurance
Of
company,
course.
they may have improper assumptions
Exactly.
that Right Way is. And a lot of people what I like about these type of companies is they know how to negotiate with insurance.
Right, to have them work like.
Yeah, where they can go with the insurance company saying, hey, this is not, you have some inaccurate assumptions that are artificially lowering this amount.
Exactly. So as Mr. Palmer was saying, that they can help negotiate the deal if we have to go back to adjuster and try to get more money, and we can get more money, say, well, look, we can't get any more money. Can you do it for that? That's all the money we have. And that way it'll hopefully
And-
come up with more money and additional assessment, all this and that. So let them try to work with the insurance company, say we select them, say we want to go ahead with them, and then let them do the deal. I mean, if that's what we want.
David, David, your experience with Right Way on your other projects?
A large other experience I've had with them was after a fire rebuild. This is the first I've worked with them on a flood rebuild.
Are you not working with
I
them
mean,
on the other, on
We
the
didn't
other,
lose any money. They got
the
every.
Colonial Palms or the other complex?
Was it a big project?
Yeah, it was a 32, well, it's about the same size as you guys, but it was one building, 132 unit
And
building.
how many millions, hundreds of thousands?
It was well over a million. It was about,
And it came out well.
it came out, here's the thing from, I've been involved in the construction and reconstruction of a lot of projects. What
Mhm.
drives everybody crazy on these things is you have no idea how the funding is gonna work.
Right.
Most of the time when you're getting ready to build a building or remodel a building, you get the money in advance, you talk to the bank, you get the loan, or you have the cash,
Mhm.
you get the bid, they tell you what it's gonna cost. I've got more money than I need, let's get started. What drives everybody crazy is on
Mhm.
insurance, we've gotta get started and we don't have the money yet. Or we don't even know that we're gonna get all the money.
Mhm.
Realizing there's a lot of things that can solve some of that. Remember, we didn't have the money the last time and we ended up with a PA to fix that problem.
Right.
We haven't even started PA discussions and we don't even know if we need to.
Right, of
At
course.
this point, Right Way, we show them because they're using actuarial tables to come up with what estimates and what things are gonna cost. If those estimates are
Exactly,
complete
mate.
bull crap,
Exactly.
we went out there and said, well, your estimates are based on, like, if Right Way's estimate is for this body of work at this cost, and they have the same body of work at a lower cost, the actual cost is gonna win, and they're gonna reimburse us for that.
Yeah, are
What
they?
the arguing points is,
Mhm.
this is what needs to be done. Does the insurance company agree with what needs to be done, and is it covered? If those two things are true, even if the insurance company is saying, oh, you should be able to get that done at 800, if we can't get it done at 800 and it's gonna cost $1 million and we've got the insurance coverage for it, guess what? We submit it and they pay us to it.
Right.
What is crazy from an administrator standpoint is all the uncertainty is all loaded at the front, If Right Way comes in and says, you know what, we see what you're getting, we'll get this project done and we know we can get the rest of the money. And this is why I like this type of company rather than a regular contractor. This type of company will basically say, you know what, we know that they're gonna pay some more money, we'll take that risk on. We'll say, okay, we'll do the contract for what we'll do a contract for the insurance proceeds, okay? Knowing that we'll be able to get more insurance proceeds because we know how insurance companies work. And then that risk transfers from us to them. I've seen that happen in the past as well, where you say, okay, this is what they've given us. Is it enough? If it isn't enough, are you willing to assume the risk that you can get the insurance company to pay
I
us
agree
more?
with that because I've done that on deals. And if they might not be using the exact program as the other one. A lot of them use Xactimate. And if the contractor can show that their costs are actually higher than the program that the insurance company is using, then they'll give them more money. And I've done this many times. Or if like you said, David, they can show that, and if they can't get them extra money and they agree and we'll have a contract, then they'll do the work for that amount that insurance company gives. And that's it. Then we don't lose out one bit and it's all in writing.
So,
Side of what I'm talking about is, and why everyone gets uncomfortable is most contractors walk in and they hand you a contract that says, this is what we're gonna get paid. And then they leave it to us to figure out how we're gonna get the money from the
No,
insurance
no,
company, and we don't know how to do that.
No, let them do
Let
it.
Right Way do it because Right Way already knows how to do it.
Well, that's
Or
what they're
some other
supposed to do.
contractor that will take the risk on of, yes, the insurance company, the whole point is, the insurance company has acknowledged that they've got a claim, now they're negotiating the details, that's what
And
these
we
type
put
of
it in
companies
writing,
do.
and we put it in writing in our contract with them. And we put it in writing, and I vote to go ahead with this. We need to move on this.
Yes, we do.
And we get the longer, I've done the math in my head, and I'm very good with math, trust me. And I've done the math, and some of these people, a lot of them want to move in there. Myself, I rented my unit out, I lost probably $20,000 at least. So if you add that up for many people, and some people are living with their relatives, some people are even renting other places. Okay, you add all this up with 15 people, we're losing a lot of money. Time is of essence with this. And the longer this goes, the costs go up. And there is a limit. All right. So we need to move on this quickly because we can't be sitting around waiting, and let them negotiate. Choose the contractor, have the deal in writing the way David said. And that way we won't lose a dime, no matter what.
Can I ask a question?
It's my belief at this point that, I mean, as much as I'd like to deal with WSV, and Right Way has been in from the beginning, and no matter what, we're already indebted to them for the remediation part. I'm sure if we don't give them the rest, they're not going to negotiate much on that part of it, and they're just going to stick us with the whole thing. If we do give them the contract and we say this is all that they're giving us, can you work it out? I'm sure there's some negotiation on that.
Yes.
So
Well,
I think that I agree with Daniel that right now we're with Right Way. I've always told them I'd like to stay with them, and I guess if there's a vote at this point, I'm in favor of proceeding with them.
and I'm in favor of it too.
Can I just interject, David?
Arnold,
David, when you're talking, I can't see the board meeting. The camera's off.
David's camera's been off, but
No, I know it has been.
I might have bumped it when I was over here. Sorry about that.
That's fine.
Arnold,
There
would
you
you like
go.
to speak on this at all as our treasurer?
Well, I'm in agreement with you and Daniel now because time is of the essence. And if we can get that contract written the way Daniel's speaking about and David, I'm 100% for that because the risk goes from us. So
Absolutely.
this is a big risk with $200,000 in Delta missing, split 15 ways. That's a chunk of change, not in counting the other stuff that may need to be done. So, yeah.
I've seen them do that type of stuff in the past. I don't want to promise that they're going to jump at that, but like Rob said, we've already got, we're already in it with them.
Oh, so
And
I mean,
show them that we just got some documentation today or yesterday that the claim is moving finally. Meaning, I don't really love the numbers, but the total at this point that the insurance is talking about sending us is what? $800,000 total, realizing we've already gotten 100 of that, but
Just say we had draw up a contract, like we're talking. They're negotiating the deal. And whatever the insurance company pays for, can you do the job? And I've done deals, big jobs like that myself. And trust me, yes, many contractors have done this, and they will.
we got to make sure that we.
And time is of essence. The longer waits, they might find another project that'll make more money. Okay, so time is of essence. We need to jump on it.
That sounds like.
Walter, do you have anything you want to add?
No, I'm in agreement with
Daniel's making a motion to move forward with Right Way, trying to negotiate a contingent contract. I want to make one notation to that. That contract cannot basically say all insurance proceeds, because remember, we did pay the electrician outside. So it needs to have a rider in that contract that, we have.
I don't believe
insurance proceeds, but it's not going to be that way. That if they're taking the risk, they're going to get all the insurance proceeds, accepting we pay the electrician or anything else that we pay directly.
Okay.
And I think that was 37.5 and 24,000 so far,
Right.
because that was the 2 boxes as well as running the
We'll
lines.
get all the proceeds except the proceeds to the electrician.
And they're not done yet either. They
Yeah.
have to put out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, whatever the proceeds are.
But that's when we're negotiating with them, they have to know the number that we're paying the electrician, see what's being paid.
Right.
Because they can look at and we can share with them what the insurance company sent us, their big 30-page docket, and say, they're gonna wanna look at that and say, okay, this is wrong, and this is wrong, we can still get another $300,000 out of this. Or we need you to file a separate claim so that we can increase the number over the 1.8 million or whatever we're insured for to get us into the $2.2 million rate. We're not anywhere near that yet, because they're talking about 800,000.
It's not even so much the lack of coverage. I don't think we'll ever reach our ceiling of coverage. but
Yeah.
it's more what the one storm did damage wise and what the second storm did damage wise. They're not covering what Milton did in Helena's claim. This is Helena's claim. So if we want to go after Milton money, we have to file another claim. To
Well, I mean,
me, it's
those guys, because remember, just so you know, Rob,
money every month.
the Helene did the majority of the damage. All that electrical damage was done during Helene. Yes,
absolutely. Don't disagree.
Past everything.
The only thing we have from Milton is that $66,000 second cleanup. Okay, 66,000 for that right now is what they're billing us, and a foot of sheetrock that they're not paying us for. Okay, Milton came up higher, so the cut would have been higher. So Milton will cover the higher cut.
We can argue because the standard cut, regardless, because
It's 10 inches above the
standard
flood
cut is
level.
4 feet because those sheets come in 4-foot section. They're 4 feet.
Yes, but the insurance company is only paying us for 3 because their standard is 10 inches above flood level.
Well, depending on how much money we're short, you know, that may be a PA type of discussions. We're not there yet, but if we're really wide on that stuff, we may need, because you can do the same type of thing.
But on a financial point of view, we have a $10,000 deductible. We
Yep.
already have a $66,000 bill. Why wouldn't we spend 10 to cover the 66?
And that's a discussion to have with the insurance agents, because
And the rest of my board, which is why I'm mentioning it now.
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
That's where we
I
are.
just want my thoughts in everybody's head.
There's a motion on the floor to get started with right way. Is there a second?
I would second it.
That's Walter. Discussion other than what we've already done.
Yeah,
Discussion is made. All in favor?
I want to have a discussion. I haven't spoken yet,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Say something.
waiting for discussion. I don't have a problem with right way. I will challenge their efficacy at taking care of the mold and remediation. I don't think they did a good job. I certainly know we weren't informed as to where we stand with that. But I can live with that. Bygones be bygones. We'll deal with that later on down this agenda. Where I would ask how we solve the problem if we take this right way quote is getting windows. Because windows are not part of this quote. And so that means let's come back as special assessment.
Well, that was always gonna be that.
Well, it was always going to be.
Windows, it's not
Flood
part of
insurance
the
is never
damage.
gonna pay for the windows.
That's not part of the deal.
Yeah, that's a total separate.
Yeah, or each individual pays for their own windows.
I think
I don't have a problem with paying for my own windows.
Good for you, Walter.
Kitchen, I think
We
everyone.
did
should do it.
agree that windows before we drywall.
We did. No, we discussed it, and I don't think the windows are out of the question. I had asked Right Way to give us numbers on windows also. Haven't seen them. But, you know, WSV's quote of 53,000, we have an idea of what we're going to be spending.
Who's not a second on this?
For 15 units.
Who's the second on this one?
53,000 for 15 units. I don't know. I mean, did all the other board members get that quote?
Yeah, I saw that.
Conversations going on at the same time. What did you just say, Rob?
We're just talking about the Windows quote, and I'm saying that we have a quote from WSV. I'm not sure if all the board members have seen it. It's for 53,000 to replace all the windows, the rotten wood, and the stucco.
The downstairs
So,
window.
We
Yes.
do have an idea of what it's going to cost us. Again, Right Way was asked to supply a number for that. We haven't gotten it from them yet. I'm sure they're capable of doing the work. And now that we have a competitive quote, if it comes in astronomically higher, we can say, well, WTF. Or we could hire WSV to do the windows and not the rest of the work. Although it does say something about
Or reinstall.
while they're doing the drywall.
Get to that.
I'm still for replacing the windows. I think we did kind of, almost mandate ourselves to that. So yeah, I mean, whether we move ahead, I think we should move ahead with Right Way. I mean, to add on to what Mark said, I wasn't necessarily over thrilled with the way they left the project once we were gone. It seemed like once there was nobody there looking at them, like when I was there, they were great. When Mark was there, they were great. As soon as we were gone, they were gone. So that would lead me to think that, I don't know, with this kind of a construction thing, do we consider hiring some kind of a owner's advocate or an owner's representative to be on project to advocate solely for us and be our eyes? And if so, where do we go looking for such a person? And I'm fine doing it for December and January when I'm down there, but once I'm gone, I don't know that the project's going to be finished by then. I don't even know if it'll be started by then.
Well, it better be.
We're hoping so.
Well, the challenge that we have with windows is the windows have to be ordered. Typically custom
6
built.
weeks.
So that's a 4 to 6 week lead time. That's not like drywall. Drywall, you go to the store and buy drywall. You can buy a can of paint, but you can't buy a window.
Yeah, there was 6 week lead time said.
I have is sliders. How do the sliders fit into this?
Sliders are in Colonial's estimate.
Right ways?
No, Colonial,
insurance
our
company.
insurance companies. Our insurance agent is covering the sliders. I don't think it's going to be enough to replace the sliders, but they're giving us about $4,000 per slider, thereabouts. On a quick glance, I haven't had time to study the whole thing, but I did look for sliders.
Well, the point is, I don't believe Right Ways quote included sliders.
No, it didn't.
Right.
It didn't. So yeah, you're right. There's 600 and whatever didn't include it, but
Get them to include it. We're negotiate the deal.
well, no, whatever we do, we're going to do what's in the claim, not what's in their estimate right now. They have to revise their estimate to meet the claim now, really.
I think what we can do is try to negotiate it and have them see what we can do.
Well, the insurance isn't going to give us depreciation for the doors if we don't put the doors in. And the doors are not in Right Way's estimate. So, we're not going to get all the money from the insurance if they don't do what they're supposed to do. There are some corners that can be cut. I don't know if all the grout needs to be chiseled out. Can you just clean and seal?
Yeah.
Some people may say, no way, I want my chiseled out. We probably won't have a choice once we hire a general contractor and they're going to do whatever. But that's why I think we need an advocate to watch them. How are we going to know if they're going to chisel it all out and replace it all? Seems like an awfully lot of work for the amount of money they're paying for it, but that's what's in the insurance claim.
I've got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Who am I missing? I heard 4.
I was on mute. Aye.
Carries. Moving along.
Mold testing. Well, it's a constant. What we've discovered is that Right Way did not do mold testing. And there's concern, I think justifiable concern, from all the residents, including the ones that are renter, that will turn these back into rentals, that we have to make dang sure that we don't have a mold problem before reconstruction begins. And so we can either hire a company or we can leave it up to the residents to do themselves. I've already done some research and I found for a couple of bucks, I can buy the same mold remediation or mold testing kit that these professional mold testers charge. I don't know what they charge. You just hired somebody.
400, but he does
Okay.
an outside air sample, he
Yeah,
does an inside air sample,
yeah,
and he does swab tests.
right.
Sends it off.
But in the end of the day, the actual tests that he sends off are less than $100. So the rest of it, you're just paying for his expertise and being able to make recommendations to you and all of that good stuff.
Are all the air conditioners working again? And that's the
Well,
biggest,
electric has been restored.
okay, so electric's on. and
AC is up to individual unit owners, so we can't say if it's all working. It should be working.
different levels, you know, because mildew is a mold,
The kitchen.
but it's not something that, you know, it's not a toxic one.
Right.
What I've found in my years of doing this is generally people start to panic on stuff and say, oh, it's black mold. No, it's mildew.
Yes.
Okay, and that you
It's a
wipe it
huge
down with
difference.
bleach and it's good.
Huge
The
difference.
whole point is if the ACs are running, you can control it so it mildew doesn't get worse or whatever it is. And all of the years that I've been doing this, and it's been since 2008, I have not had one evidence of black mold ever been proved. Okay, everybody says black mold, black mold. That's what starts this whole thing. And remember, a lot of the mold remediation companies are trying to sell you something. Okay, oh, there's mold here, and you know, this is terrible, to get you to write a check and take care of it. Most of my experience with mold has been, it builds on itself. The reason you have a lot of them, I know you had mildew because we had, you know, we moved heaven and earth to get the air conditioners running right after Helene. Water came in 10 days later, high enough that no more power. And then you have a month in the hottest part of the year with no air conditioning and windows and doors closed. Plus stuff that's not, you know, it took a while to get it dried out again. Creates those mildewy type situations. I'm not saying that you don't need to test, you know, to make sure you don't have something worse. But I have a sneaking suspicion that they're a lot drier now than they were because you don't have the moist air because your air conditioners are all going now. But, you know, just wanted to put that out there that a lot of times these things feed on each other. It's like, oh, there's, you know, when there's no power, you can't treat for mold, basically. That, you know, so yes, I agree with you. It's frustrating. But remember, Right Way couldn't treat for mold. The best treatment was to run the air conditioners. And we got the power running, you couldn't do that.
Right.
So, you know, everybody who was in the same situation you were, which was no power, most of downtown Punta Gorda had the same issue.
Right.
They're gonna have a mildew issue. They may have a more toxic mold issue, but most of them
Don't
No.
have black mold.
don't have black mold.
I get it.
Could I say something? As far as choosing Right Way, they did a horrible job in their work. Couldn't we try to get WSV to give us the same deal?
Looking
You know-
at me, that is not the answer.
In
I don't
other
know the
words-
answer to that.
Maybe WSV would work with the insurance company as well. And we could get somebody that's gonna stand by their work.
Well, they will have to stand by their work in the
Right? They did a
contract.
horrible
No, in the
job.
contract, they will have a legal contract and they're gonna have to guarantee it. They should guarantee it
Definition.
2 to 5 years. And everyone, otherwise we don't sign off. There have to be guarantees
I mean,
in their
we're
work.
debating opinions at this point, right? You know,
And we have a
everyone's
contract.
entitled to their own opinion. I've seen
Well-
what they did and I'm, you know, because remember, Right Way, nobody has done any rebuild yet. You know, what you're unhappy about is you had something that has never happened in our lifetimes. 2 storms in 10 days, 2 flooding events in 10 days. I will just tell you, everybody was really happy with Right Way after the first storm, right?
Right, they got it right in
They
there.
got right in there. After the second storm, no power.
They couldn't get right
They
in
couldn't
there.
get in
Right.
right there.
How
So I'm
could they?
saying, and the other side is, remember, we've only paid them $10,000. All the rest of it is on spec at this point.
Right.
They're not chasing us, they're not making a nuisance of us, they're not sending us demand
And we
letters, I haven't got a
And
notice
we
of
have
owner.
negotiation power because they're already working with us, right? And we haven't paid them the whole bill. And
I don't
and
know
now-
that we need to go through, I mean, we've been all through that.
No, we can
But-
negotiate the deal now with.
Hold on a minute.
If
Didn't
you-
we just, didn't we have a motion already?
Hold on, I mean, we've already voted on this, right?
Right, we've already voted on it,
Let's
so
go ahead and move on down the line. I mean,
I do appreciate the opinions.
right now, we kind of lost the thread a little bit.
I appreciate the opinions being given, but the choice has already been made.
That's right.
Okay.
All right, well, there are two options under. One is we could get a motion to,
What happened?
They froze up again.
I will send a link to a place that I'm going to use personally.
David, fix your camera.
Sorry, just
Your
keep going.
camera went out.
Yeah,
Y'all froze up.
you zoned out.
And they will test for the 5, what they call deadly molds. And it's a swab test, and if I don't have deadly mold in my house,
You don't worry.
I'm not worried.
I agree.
Worth $50 for me to find that out, just to have that comfort. I'll send everyone the link, and you can do it in your house if you want to. If not,
I
it's up to
agree.
you.
I agree.
Okay, next,
Moving on.
termite testing. Now we talk about termites.
Oh,
So,
Whose item is this?
I mean, as far as I know, we have a contract with Pest Eliminators to keep termites out of our building. They're supposed to do periodic inspections and make recommendations, which they've done. And again, we talked about it earlier. I'll say it again. The board approved back in July, the expenditure of $1,200 per unit for 2 units, number 43 and number 49, to eradicate any said termites that were reported.
Unfortunately, because it wasn't done, now they've traveled to other units.
Okay, if that's actually the case, then the inspections will show it and we'll address the next units then. Other than you saying that they're in 4 units now, there has been nothing reported to the board or management that they're in any other units other than 43 and 49. I have seen no emails other than saying they're in 43 and 49. If other units have them, they have to notify management, who will
Yes.
notify the board.
Here's the thing is, the reason nothing happened on 43 and 49 is they inspected them and didn't find any evidence of termites.
Excuse me?
It's
Well,
very contradictory.
They did the inspection on November 6th. This is what Pest Eliminator said. I'm looking at the report on Mark's laptop right now. 49, Rose said found termites upstairs. I don't see it at this time, but there's a lot of clutter. On 43, there's not even a note on that says anything.
43, we
I had
have.
I had piles.
I'm just reading what's on this report in front of me. So is the board instructing us to get them back out to just inspect again?
I called Pest Eliminators to try to make an appointment for him to come. The very nice receptionist made an appointment for Tuesday. Coming up. But then she called me back a little bit later and said she spoke to the boss and he said that they've inspected the place twice and they weren't coming out again, basically. And I said, listen, there's some kind of misunderstanding. Please have Conrad give me a call. There's something messed up. And he has not called me back. I then reached out to Anthony, and I think Anthony reached out to him. And the next thing we got was a copy of an email from July to treat the whole building for $15,000. So I don't know if they're just getting fed up with us, but I'm about fed up with them, to be honest with you. Somebody asked, isn't there other pest eliminators out there? There probably are, but the last time we priced it, they were all more expensive. So I
I-
get the service that you pay for. I just don't want to keep saying the same thing over and over again. The board approved the expenditure to get rid of them out of Claire's place. Claire says there's bugs in there. The bug people say there isn't bugs in there.
I sent actual pictures.
I
I know that, I mean, I sent like the piles of the wood that they were doing. Like it's factual. So what I'm gonna do is get the guy. It's Peace River exterminators. I have them come into my house anyway every 6 months. So I'm just gonna have them do it because right now it's been sitting there empty, and these guys have probably just been going to town. I have no idea how much damage is being done.
I don't know if you're getting it treated every 6 months. I don't know why they're there to begin with.
No, it's just regular pest treatment, not termite treatment that is done every 6 months.
Again, I don't know enough about.
Several things there. I'm gonna say this for the benefit of everybody. There is not a unit owner here that can spend the association's money without the association's permission. You go and spend some money and expect to be reimbursed, that won't happen without the board's approval. So
Rob already told me.
Well, I don't know that I have the authority, but I did say, and you can correct me, David, please. I did say we approve the expenditure of 1,200. If she can get it done for 1,200 or under on her own, I'm okay with that if we don't have to deal with it. We've already approved the money. I'm not going to spend it twice.
Clarifying for Claire, if her pest company can treat it for $1,200 or less, we'll reimburse it. If it's more than that, we won't.
I agree 100%.
Okay.
Still approve the funds for mine.
Yours were never denied.
Okay,
I mean, again, the board approved. I don't know why people are saying it needs to be done. It doesn't need to be done. I try to listen to the professionals. I appreciate everybody's input, and I want to do what everybody needs to have done. But if we call a professional and they say it doesn't need to be done, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I mean, maybe we need another opinion.
Because he's talking about termites. You're talking about bugs.
a
Are not the
live
same thing.
termite in the middle of the floor.
How would you know what it like?
'Cause I
Because they're
took
so
a-
small, you can't see
Took a
them.
picture of it, sent it to pest eliminators.
Okay.
They said, yes, that's a termite.
Did they actually say that in writing to you? Because that would be lovely to actually be able to show it. It doesn't matter.
I mean, once again, we did approve back in July. Look at the July minutes. We approved $1,200 to be spent on Unit 43 and Unit 49 to eradicate bugs. Floods happened, things happened, it didn't happen. There was a delay when I said, hey, now there's no sheetrock or anything. This should be cheaper. You don't have to drill tiny little holes in between every single stud. You can see what's there. No, still $1,200 is what they told me. Yeah, okay, whatever. It never got done. That's all I can say about it. With everything else that's going on, I'm really tired about talking about the same thing in every meeting.
Okay.
And
Well, thank you, Rob, and I appreciate you, and I will take care of it and send the bill. And I believe I'll be able to do it.
all right, enough. Let's move on to the next item. David?
South building front gutters.
Ugh.
Oh,
I mean, I didn't put this on the agenda. This is old business. It's the same thing we talked about the last two meetings. Gutters need to be put on the front of the building because of the way the recent roofer pitched it. Water pours off the front and over the windows where it was never designed to be. The board's issue has been where the downspouts coming down. How do you put downspouts down the front of a building that was never designed to have downspouts on it? I don't think we've had an answer yet. I don't think we've had a gutter guy there yet to tell us where he thinks he can bring gutters down. Again, I said at the last meeting, this is something I'd be happy to take care of once I'm down there and I can talk to a gutter guy and he can point to me and say, look, we can bring it down here. You'll never see it. It won't be aesthetically ugly. But even though we've agreed to put gutters on the building and we know it needs it,
Here. When will you be here, Rob?
I'm about a week and a half out.
I think
Why don't we table
wait.
this for now? It's not raining anymore.
We can wait.
No,
till-
no, excuse me, David, we're not tabling it. Is there?
Oh,
a
wait.
way-
Once again, I will remind everybody, this is a board meeting.
Ugh,
This
okay,
is for the board members to discuss. We are not asking for your opinion at this point.
That's a big meeting.
well, I don't think David should table it.
Well, I appreciate your input. Join the board again. You are not a board member.
So he deals with the gutter. That's the right thing to do. We talked
Yeah,
about it the
just put
last
it-
meeting.
Rob's suggesting that you come down, when he gets down, we'll see if we can find somebody to get it done. It's a week and a half away. That sounds like a good plan. I
will ask you, Claire, at this time,
vote on anything today.
what is your idea, Claire? How do you think we should bring gutter leaders down? Because I want
Actually, I don't think that gutter should be an issue. I think what we need to do is go back to Galloway and have them fix
fix what?
the issue where we miss in the contract, obviously.
Unfortunately,
where we're
Galloway.
supposed to be leading on.
Fortunately, Galloway did what they said they were going to do. We as a board missed it, and
Right.
now it's pitched to the front. So we can't go back to Galloway and say, come fix your mistake. It was our mistake.
But what
So
is going
what
to
can
be what
we
is
do
going
as
to
a
be make
board?
what will
We-
make more sense is
We've
to fix
asked
the-
Galloway for a price to repitch the roof, and it seemed to be a little too expensive. Still cheaper than what we paid for the other roof, and I still think it's a consideration, but that's not what we're talking about right now. We're talking about gutters. So we're gonna go back to talking about gutters, and we're going to table it until I get there and can meet with a gutter person to figure out if we can put gutters on. I'm still not in believes that we're going to be able to, and we might go back to what you're suggesting. But we're gonna wait and see until we can talk to somebody and make a really educated decision.
That's all we're talking about, is to look at it and make sure. All right, we're gonna move on to the next item, which is the South Building Erosion Project. Joe's here. And I think
We're basically all cleaned up on that with the exception of behind Diane's unit. I need to get some stuff moved out of there. I did get quotes on 9 yards of dirt. Those quotes have since gone up since we did it the last time. Now, I did put sandbags down, but we need about 12 yards of dirt.
Okay.
Everything's all cleaned up. It just needs to be done. I need approval to do it.
What's the dollar amount on your best guess?
Right now, it's $752.
Do I have a motion?
A motion to spend,
Up to 1,000 or whatever,
okay, up to $1,000, to complete the erosion project.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay.
Third,
A lot of people, Rob, know that. Is there any discussion on that to finish it?
nope.
All in
No.
favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. That's the end of the agenda items. Directors, do you have anything else that,
Who is the second?
well, both Rob and I think Walter, or maybe it was Arnold.
It was I, yeah.
Arnold put down.
Lots of ayes. We need that work done.
Directors, Rob, you got anything else?
I don't.
The agenda?
Nope, nothing to add to the agenda. I'll be there in a week and a half, thereabouts, for hopefully the winter, and hopefully we can get a lot of these projects completed.
All right.
I hope I get there.
So David, are you gonna send something out when we get some word back from Right Way, if what their idea is compared to what we're proposing to them? Can you send something out to us, let us know what they say?
Not gonna get to this week, and it will be probably the middle of the week. If one of you wants to talk to them, and I apologize, I'm doing 4 budget meetings a day right now. And until I'm done with that, I don't have time for other little stuff.
So
Just wait till probably Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. I don't mind communicating with Right Way. I just am so I'm underwater at this point. If it can wait till Tuesday or Wednesday, that's fine. Otherwise, if somebody else wants to run with it, just keep me in the loop and I'll pick it up when I'm free again.
I most definitely will be putting a call into Right Way first thing Monday morning, if not before, to let them know of our choice to go with them and to get the ball rolling and to, submit proper paperwork to Palmer's office. As
Yeah, because we can forward them that email that came out today so that they can look at apples to apples, what they think needs to be done and what the insurance, because they may look at that real quick and say, there's another $300,000 in here that they've screwed up. And I think that's a good start as far as that goes as well.
Absolutely.
And they did say from the beginning it was going to be a negotiation, and they want to negotiate that. They want to be our general contractor and work on our behalf. We just haven't really given them the authority to yet, but we just have in our motion passed. So,
Walter, you got anything?
Always no.
No, I'm good.
Well, that does raise a question. Have we made a motion officially to pay them for the first piece of this?
We're not gonna pay them until we get the money.
no, not until they negotiate it out with the insurance.
We've got no money yet for cleanup, just the money.
We got 100,000 refunds.
Got it.
Okay, and I've
Okay, that
spent
went to the.
37.5 and 24.
Okay.
There's still some of that money's there,
Right.
but I haven't paid Right Way anything other than the 10K
Okay,
of the
all
deductible.
right.
So they're not cheap. That's wonderful. Well, that's not gonna last, but
Yeah.
at this point, they haven't come after me for it at this point.
They're gonna want it as soon as that check gets cut.
Well, that's true. I mean, I still have some money left and they're entitled to the money that's left of that 100,000, but they knew we had to get power going and we're not even done with the power bill yet.
Yep.
And that bid that we got yesterday or the day before, whenever it was, that's based on it's got the actual electrical invoices, but we're not done with electrical yet. So that'll be a direct add-on as far as that goes.
Okay.
If another 20,000 comes in, they're gonna pay for it.
Okay.
So,
But I mean, just to throw something in there, just for everybody's basic knowledge, they did not cover the $5,000 invoice from Electrical Solutions for raising the meters above flood level. That was not a coverable expense, so that's our out of pocket.
do we have law and ordinance coverage? Does anybody know off the top of their head? Because the county made us raise that up. Okay.
He said, no, that's to save you in the future. He said, I specifically asked Michael Jakes, the adjuster. He said, no, raising them's not going to won't be covered. Like replacement, yes. Raising, no.
The reason I was asking that is if we have law and ordinance, it would cover that because it was required by the county or by the city to do that. It's a different policy, which may have, and usually those policies have low deductibles, but I don't know in my head if we have law and ordinance.
Well, that I don't know. Maybe something we're looking into.
Moving on, Dan, you got anything?
No.
For the good of the order? Mark? Okay. All right. Everybody else, anything else that we need to talk about?
I do, I have something. I'll
Okay.
just make a statement. I appreciate all of the work that you guys have done, but I think that the owners are sitting.
Talk
there.
louder, can't hear you.
We can't hear Sandy.
They can't
That's
hear
okay.
now.
Just
I couldn't hear them either, so
you finish and I'll summarize.
yeah. I just think that there needs to be more information given to all the owners about all the things that are going on with the insurance company. You talk about numbers and we don't even know what you're talking about. You spent the whole hour and some talking about things that the owners don't know anything about.
That's because it's a board meeting. It's not really an owner's meeting. This is information for the board. We invite you to listen in, but the information here is for the board. We try to be transparent, and I think we're more transparent than any board in the 20 years that I've sat on it. More openness. I don't know how we can be more open. Everything we talk about is taped, videoed, and posted across the internet.
Yep.
So, sorry, but
I mean,
that's the way-
but I've seen the emails that Mark puts out to tell you what's going on and what's happening.
I know, we
So-
need numbers. I think that's what I'm talking about.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
No,
Don't
you
talk to
let,
me
can
like-
I finish?
But don't talk to me like that.
I'm sorry,
I
ma'am.
sat here last year,
No, you-
listen to me.
No, we're gonna stop that. Both of you, I'm gonna scold both of you. We're not gonna have that kind of stuff going on. All right.
You You gotta realize you're not on the board, you're not entitled to this information. We could go into executive session and discuss this without any of you in the room, but we don't want to do that. We want to keep it out in the open. So you'll pick up the information you pick up, but you're not entitled to it.
You can make a.
Okay, that's not really very nice, Rob.
I'm sorry.
There are a lot, and I know you try to mute me, David. However, there are a lot of people that just maybe want to get in there because they're not living in a great place who want a hot water heater.
Oh,
Is
okay.
that something that maybe the board can work on so some people can just move there and live upstairs?
I'm moving in next week and I will deal with my hot water heater when I get there. Nobody's told you how to move out. We haven't banned anybody from living there. Accommodations are not great. We only just got a settlement claim from our claims adjusters. We can't work any faster. It came in last night. I haven't even had time to read the first 3 pages. I've scanned it really quick, but I mean, just, you know, to think that we're not moving as fast as we possibly can, you know, if you want to move into your place, you move into your place. If you want to put a hot water heater in, put in a hot water heater. What I will tell you is when it comes time to buy 15 hot water heaters, if our contractor says, I got 15 of them here, we're not reimbursing you for the hot water heater you put in because we already got an extra. So,
Okay, I'm not moving in, but I'm kind of doing this. I'm asking this question for others that are curious about what's happening and not speaking up.
fair enough question. But yeah, I mean, once again, nobody has ever said you had to move out. Right from the very beginning, we said we're not evicting anybody. We're not telling you can't stay here. The city didn't say that. You know, as far as I've been living there. Whenever I'm in town, I'm living there. So I'm not going to tell you can't stay there, but you live under the accommodations that are there. And
So, but if you buy a hot water heater on your own, you're saying that the board will not, with our insurance.
We're going to contract with a company to restore the whole complex, and he's basing it on 15 units.
Okay.
The prices are based on purchasing 15 hot water heaters. When you go to Home Depot and buy 1 hot water heater, you don't get as good of a price as when you go buy 15. So I'm just saying he's going to have 15 hot water heaters to put in this place. If 5 people put hot water heaters in and now he's not selling us 5 hot water heaters, guess who's paying for the hot water heaters? We're still paying for them because he purchased 15 of them. So, you know, again, you do certain things on your own risk. We're not telling you can't do it, but we're not paying for things twice.
Understood. And this is what I think people need to hear.
Not covered. You know, Rob, let us know what's covered and what's not covered. Our water heaters covered, our refrigerators covered, our stoves covered.
Yes, they're covering everything.
That's all.
Countertops, countertops.
I mean, right from the get-go, we've been told that our flood policy is a great policy and it's covering everything. You know, again, I got the claim last night. I did look through, I looked at my unit just to see what are they going to pay me for my refrigerator. So they have my refrigerator listed with the serial number, model number, and they're saying $2,100 actual value, depreciation $1,800. So basically they're gonna, you know, they're saying they'll give my unit for my refrigerator $1,800. The dishwasher says $800. The stove says $1,200. But everything's got a model number and a date and everything. So that's what insurance is saying they're going to pay us. Now, are we going to let a general contractor go out and buy all this stuff for us? When it comes down to appliances, I don't think so. I'm hoping we can extract the money from the claim and pay each unit owner for their appliances based on what insurance is giving us. It's itemized. It's there. We should be able to do that. I don't know why a general contractor.
Bob, remember you said some things about the depreciated where it's like the value is 2,100 and they're gonna give you 1,800.
Right,
Remember that depreciation is fully recoverable.
correct, so
Once the
long as you
stuff is
get your
in there,
money.
they send us the check for the balance. So you may be able to get, if they buy the whole $2,100, whatever it is, if you let them actually buy whatever the value of that unit is, you get the exact same refrigerator, and as soon as it's installed, you send that bill off to the insurance company, and they're going to send you the accumulated depreciation. If you look at that, and we're talking about a report we got yesterday, you guys don't understand what I'm talking about, but here's the value, here's the depreciation. As soon as the work is complete, you turn around and show them that the work's been complete, and they'll send you the check for the depreciation.
David, I know in a wind policy, that's the way it works, but in the last flood claim we had, they sent us both checks right up front. If you recall, we got two
Well,
checks.
you're talking about a much less,
It's a lesser claim, but I'm almost.
And we'd already started to work at the time that, by the time the check came, we were pretty far along as far as that went, I think.
Well, I'm not sure how it's gonna work. If I go with what we've learned from the past, we're gonna end up getting two checks right off the bat, and then we're gonna have to deal with the money and how we spend it. Don't know how that's gonna go yet, because we haven't ever done this before. And we don't know that this is the final claim. And again, all of us board members should spend some time over the weekend looking it over a little bit. It makes for somewhat interesting reading, until you get to the second unit and the third unit, and it's very repetitious. But every little nut and bolt is pretty much covered.
Can I ask a question?
That's Rose.
So if we want to upgrade our countertops from laminate to a better grade,
Yeah, it's a good valid question. And that's why I was kind of hoping that we could keep like the kitchens and the interiors out. In the beginning, Right Way said they didn't want anything to do with like the finish work. They only wanted to do the sheetrock and insulation. And I thought that was kind of great. But now they're saying they want to do it all. Everybody should be entitled to do an upgrade. I just don't know how that's going to work. My wife said the same thing. She doesn't want the same refrigerator. She hated that refrigerator. She didn't like the way the freezer was on the bottom. And she wants a different refrigerator. She doesn't want the same one back. So, there's going to be issues like that, I guess. And I don't know how we're going to deal with them. Because I've never done this before.
one more question. Is it possible for us to get a copy of the Right Way contract of what they're covering or what they're going to be?
So Right Way hasn't given us a contract. We have no contract with Right Way.
Well, not a contract, a proposal.
What they gave us was a 416 or 417 page estimate. And it says estimate right up in the corner.
Maybe briefly, it's not gonna be doors, front door, sliding glass.
And it doesn't matter what's in Right Way, because we can throw that out. Now that we have colonials or adjusters, this is what they have to rewrite for now. Okay. And in this, they cover the front door. They cover the what did they call it? Basically, they're giving so much money to repair, and then if it's replaced, it's so much more. There's money allotted for the front door. There's money allotted for the back door. There's money allotted for a lot of things that Right Way did not cover. I think the adjuster was more thorough.
Okay.
Now, the adjuster's numbers as being more thorough are lower than the Right Way's, but Right Way might be overcharging. So we now basically, like David said, we have to give them what the insurance company has given us, say this is what they're willing to pay. Can you do the work for that? And see what they come back and say to us.
That's the next step.
I missed that Colonial was the insurance adjuster's estimate.
I'm sorry. Colonial is our insurance company.
Got it.
Okay. All right. Anybody else?
I have a question about whether or not the board thinks hiring a foreman to visit the site once this work starts to keep an eye on it.
Well, I did kind of mention that, hiring, an advocate or an owner's representative to be on site.
Mhm.
I think we should look into it because of the problems we've had in the past with projects going on. I'd like to think we can trust our general contractor, but I don't know that you can trust anybody, especially down in Florida. I don't know what it'll cost, and I don't know that insurance will cover it.
Yeah, that's true.
So there's two questions there. One is, we can call Michael Jakes, our claims adjuster, and say, is there money in the claim anywhere for us to hire an advocate? And the other side would be, if not, do we want to pay the money? But a lot of times these guys are like, the guy that we hired last time to advocate for us was 20% of the claim.
Oh,
20% of the claim is a lot of money to be paying
Sure.
some, to protect our best interests.
right.
I think we do need to protect our best interests. I think it really depends on how quickly the project goes on and how many board members can be there to oversee it. But yeah, I think we need to think about it and look into it. So
Okay.
thanks for that
Thank-
input.
Have an estimated start date?
We won't have an estimated start date. And I mean, I know the first thing they told me was, you got to decide real soon because it might take 6 weeks to get permits. So, I mean, the first thing is getting permits. Rose, I know you have friends in the building department. Maybe you could ask, is it really true 6 weeks for permits? Or is that just BS to get us to sign up faster?
I'll ask him tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you. But I mean, I know the first thing is going to be permits, and Joe, we could probably answer your question sooner once we know how long that's going to take. I'm told that they're ready to go. That permits is going to be the delay. So,
Talk to him Monday morning, Rob.
I'll reach out to him tomorrow, to Jeff, the project manager that, sent over this paperwork, and let him know of our intentions and see if I can get a timeline. And as soon as I do, I will pass that along to our secretary, and he will post it wherever he posts stuff like that. But what else we got?
That's about it.
Got a question.
Okay.
On the inside of the building, the refrigerators and all this, we all get a certain amount for the refrigerator and a certain amount for the stove.
No, that's what Rob was just talking about.
Oh,
So everything is documented. So if your refrigerators are still there and you want to get rid of them, you can get rid of them. What they told us was when they bring the new ones, they'll take away the old ones.
Basically, the consensus on this end is forward that thing to the rest of everybody so they can see what their own units got in it. It'll answer a
Exactly.
lot of questions. We're getting a lot of the same questions.
Okay, so long as everybody realizes this is potential, okay? It's not a final claim.
All on the Google Drive.
And it's going to be negotiated. So, don't look at it and think that, you might get this and that.
That's
It's-
out there already?
Oh,
Yes, so you can go and look at all of this. All of this stuff's on the Google Drive. So you don't have to do anything, Rob. It's already out there.
It's already out there. See, transparency, I told you.
Right.
That's
How
what I
do
want
I
to
get,
reiterate. Everything that we do is on the Google Drive. Mark uploads everything. So any question you have, it's on the drive.
Yes.
I motion to adjourn.
Okay, I've got
Any,
I'll
any,
second.
any pictures of anything that's happening down there? Are there any photos of anything?
You know what? I don't go there very often because it's so depressing, but I will go there and take pictures for you.
called the vote yet. We have
Thank you. And I just want to say
Got a
thank you
motion and
to
a
the
second.
board.
all those in favor.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, I just
Thank
want
you,
to say
Rob.
thank you to the board and everybody that's put so much time and effort into it.